David was not where he was supposed to be for divine visitation. God repositioned him. 1 Samuel chapter 16. You can read it from verse 1 to 13. 1 Samuel 16 from verse 1 to 13. David was to be anointed king. The man of God was there in the house. Where is the king? Some pretenders were showing forth. God kept on saying, no, not this one, no, not this one. Until finally the man of God said, hey, are you sure these are all your children? The father said, well, there's one more. It is not material for kingship. That's why the man of God said, we won't sit down until you bring him. I have good news for somebody here today. All those who are needed to bring you to divine contact, they won't rest until they do so. In 1 Kings chapter 17, 1 Kings chapter 17. Thank you, Daddy. God asked me to tell you a story. Quite an interesting story. When I was a teacher at Adeboye Grammar School, I was in Ondo State. I was the games master, so I took our boys to Akure for a game. And there I met a man, another games master. And as we normally would do, we were boasting before the match. Oh, my team will defeat yours. It is with a basket that we will carry home your own goals, etc., etc. Anyway, we just met briefly, and then we parted after the game. Years passed, and I came to the University of Lagos to do my master's. I was almost finishing when one day I saw this man. Hello, how are you, etc., etc. Where are you now? Oh, he said, I'm working with the Ministry, Federal Ministry of Education. I said, you people. He said, what's wrong with us? He said, I applied to you for a scholarship. And you didn't even invite me for interview, even if you are not going to give me. At least you could have invited me. He said, you applied? I said, yes. He said, what course are you doing? I said, you know, I'm doing mathematics. He said, we're looking for somebody in mathematics to give a scholarship to. We don't know what happened to your application. I said, is that so? You want me to reapply? He said, no, wait. A few days later, I got a letter from the Federal Ministry of Education giving me scholarship and backdating it to the very first time I applied. The Lord asked me to tell you that story. He said, I have repositioned someone who will help you. In 1 Kings chapter 17, from verse 8 to 16, 1 Kings 17 from verse 8 to 16, the Almighty God made sure that he repositioned the widow of Zarephath. She was outside there looking for wood, And he repositioned Elijah, who arrived just on time to see the widow. The widow got a divine visitation because God did some repositioning. In the name that's above every other name, before this month is over, somebody will get a divine visitation. Now, at times, God will reposition you so you can see the unusual. See, when you're on the mountain top, you can see further than somebody who is in the valley. If you've ever been in an aeroplane, you will discover that the higher the aeroplane goes, the further you can see. When you're on the ground, houses will block your sight. But as you go higher and higher, you see more and more. In Genesis chapter 13, from verse 14 to 17, Genesis 13 from verse 14 to 17, the Bible made it clear that the more you can see, the more you can have. He told Abraham, hey, don't just stand on one spot, walk the length and breadth of the land. Whatever you can see, you get. So occasionally God repositions you to the mountain top so you can see far, so you can see what God is about to make available to you. And in Matthew 17, from verse 1 to 9, and I think I heard my son making reference to that passage. In Matthew 17, from verse 1 to 9, the Lord took 3 people with him to the Mount of Transfiguration to see what ordinary eyes could not see. They saw the Lord transformed, transfigured. They saw Moses, who had been dead for hundreds of years. They saw Elijah. They saw what ordinary eyes could not see. Because the Lord repositioned them to the mountaintop. I have good news for somebody. Beginning from this year, you begin to see the invisible. In Mark chapter 5, thank you, Father. Yeah, I know this is going to be a very special night at the beginning of a special year. The Lord wants me to tell you another story. Some people say I tell stories. It's because I've seen a bit. I've been around for more than 80 years. Way back in 1962, there's a place called College of Agriculture in Akure. I believe it's still there. In those days, young people would go there, study for 2 years, and you become an agric officer. And when you graduate, they give you a motorcycle. The name of the motorcycle then was Triumph. And when you say young man, some of the older ones, they will remember. When you say young man sitting on Triumph, and the boom, boom. No girl could resist him. Because the girl would want to sit at the back of a man riding triumph. So the local government that I belong to then, the Leoluji-Okegbo Local Government Council, decided they wanted to give scholarship for someone to go to the College of Agric. And two of us applied. One fellow from Ileoluji and myself from Okegbo. And we had the interview, and the interview was very simple. But in any case, they wanted to choose one man, and they chose the other man. I was sad. 3 years passed. And I met that man that, we struggled together, the one who won. Of course, by now he was riding his triumph. And I was in my final year in the university. When I told him that I was in my final year in the university, he said, "Oh God, I thought I was a winner. I didn't know I was a loser." Daddy asked me to tell you the story. And he said, the fellow concerned will understand. He said, last year you lost a river. This year I will give you an ocean. In Mark chapter 5, from verse 35 to 45,